Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
And I'm Rangru. Hello.
Well, folks, we're taking a break from our Terrible Divisions tournament coverage. In fact, just kind of taking a bit of a look over here on Slutsk East to a match from the Second Greenhorn Cup. Now, Rang, talk a little bit about this. What's going on here?
So, on left-hand side in blue, we have Wilager playing the Troph SS Hitlerjugend Panzer Division SS with a balanced income. On the right-hand side in red, we have hamsick1917 playing Second Guard Tank with a Vanguard income, and this is once again another Greenhorn Cup tournament hosted by the Steel Division 2 Boot Camp Discord, intended for more newer players to the game.
So, not thinking that there were too many, I'm not saying biases on here per se, but not that there's going to be any real kind of shifting of material. We are going to see, at least on, I think on your side as well, you guys see some nice green and yellow, just kind of help you guys understand a little bit more about cover going on for both these replays. I know that was something that was kind of asked of us.
Yeah.
You kind of make the cover options a little bit more easily observed. What should we expect going on between the Hitlerjugend and the Second Guard Tank, though?
Hitlerjugend has some pretty nasty infantry because they do have that fanatical trait, while Second Guard Tank hasn't really been in a great spot recently. On paper, they don't seem to be a terrible division, but they just haven't really performed yet well. Maybe Hamsick can do good with them this matches, especially on a map like this, so T-34-85s would definitely help out in those longer range engagements, especially down south. NGISU shows a pretty big game changer when you're trying to blow up Panthers.
They definitely can be. Now, what should we kind of expect over here from the Hitlerjugend, though, in terms of, like, how do they do the counterplay against a second, I suppose?
Good infantry, because you got those fanatical traits on the Pantograms. Yeah, I think the infantry is pretty good, and also if you can just use those Panthers effectively, and it's pretty even Stevens, I'd have to say, between both.
I suppose one thing that's going to be kind of interesting is to see the difference in terms of the airplay. Not that we're going to see a ton of it really on both sides, but from the German side, there's a mere single card to kind of be seen coming over here in A, and just some interceptors more than anything else. Soviets playing a little bit more aggressively in there, but all the same, still not the usual swath of air power that we've come so used to seeing in recent replays.
Yeah, it's definitely not a 2v2 tournament, that's for sure. It's much less in the skies here. We did see some early PE2 play from Hamsick, and Hamsick's doing a pretty good job in this northern hill position here, pushing with tank keys and the half-tracks, and a T-34-76 gonna be leading the charge, and there's nothing here from Wilager to stop us. He's quickly bringing in some, well, infantry to try and ward us off, but Hamsick has some lovely time to get into a lovely defensive position on this hill.
I suppose I am surprised that the P4s weren't deployed a little bit more, I don't want to say aggressively, but maybe a more active defense. Maybe that's the right term here.
Yeah, right now he's pulled back one of them behind the church, which I get. He has no infantry, so he doesn't want to risk it for the biscuit. The ISU is getting onto a pretty good position onto the hill, but he's taking some fire from the Panzer IV, and the Panzer IV does blow it up. That's a pretty big kill, because yeah, he only has one ISU in A phase, and then he has two more available in B phase, and like I said before, I think he really wants to try and reserve him for knocking out Panthers.
You know, but while he is able to be rather aggressive, and is very successful to be sure, I am wondering that if we're really going to see a super strong Soviet play here. Yes, the Soviets are getting a more aggressive position in that town. I don't know that it's going to be able to stay too particularly well, though.
Yeah, especially right now, as the infantry, the tank discipline keys are pretty low in numbers. He definitely needs extra reinforcements, and he is bringing them in just now, but I don't think they're going to come in time. So his Pioneers and the Panzer IV might be enough to ward things off and get back into a good position for Wilager.
Nothing else. We do have a single Razvedka over here with 2 rounds of a Zook. And I feel kind of bad for this poor IG-18. He's been desperately trying to shoot at these poor half-tracks, and his half-tracks just dancing in and out. It's been like just hell on earth to try to get any kind of firepower there.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job maneuvering those half-tracks around, just harassing the enemy lines here. Now, IG-18, he's just doing his darndest, like you're saying, but the half-tracks are pretty nimble.
That is certainly true.
Yeah, but 2 Panzer IVs come in their array. That's a lot of Panzer IVs being brought out from Wilager. Pretty heavy in A phase of the amount of P4s that he does have, especially for a balanced deck, but a good choice. I mean, Panzer IVs aren't the best thing in the world, but 2-star vetted and being able to mass a lot of them, yeah, that's a pretty good counter against T-34. It's a decent counter against T-34 spam.
True. True, especially the kind of more mild T-34s that we're kind of seeing here today.
Yes. Yes, not too many 85s right now. Looking down south, things are, for the most part, pretty quiet. hamsick does have the far southern position pretty well defended, but in like his central position, we did see some Flammenwerfers try to rush in and capture the flag, but hamsick is going to be pushing them back. But, another but here, Wilager has a big bloody Panther, and in this open field engagement, that Panther is going to be a very tough customer to deal with.
Well, and if nothing worse was the worst, I mean, that T-34 can't really even retreat either. There's a P-Shrek behind the front lines here.
Oh, yeah. What a sneaky spot. I really look forward to him blowing up something that comes across that road. Here comes a PE-2. Going for the Panther, it seems. This could be pretty good.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised, though, if it's an immediate kill. It's probably going to be more the stress out.
I don't know, maybe the second run or hit home. Just stress out, yeah. But it definitely did some good HE damage on the Panther. I think he's pretty close to being kaput. So that's a very good play from hamsick using the air power that he has. Because it's definitely going to be very helpful in trying to knock out those rather nasty Panthers.
I guess I'm not surprised per se, but I would have thought that there'd been a much more aggressive placement of some anti-air over here from the Hitlerjugend. They have the Mobilwagons, they have Flak 36s. Not for nothing, you're not going to use them against tanks, sure, but you got to bring something in against those high-level bombers. That will cause a heck of a lot of an issue for any kind of central play, let alone the town fights in the north and south.
Yeah, he's been investing pretty hard up north with the Panther IVs, and he really could use some anti-air in the center here to protect his Panther.
So let's see if that's
yeah,
happen, though.
Yeah, Roger's pushing back on the northern hill position here with quite a lot of infantry. Fanatical trait really makes the Hitler infantry a real pain in the ass to dig out when you're attacking him. And the Panzer IV does not trade with the T-34, so that should give hamsick time to bring in some extra infantry reinforcements to try and hold that hill. He actually has like 2 Garda Scrotch behind his lines, but they're not really doing anything. It'd be probably good if they were guarding the front line rather than, you know, some Belarusian town.
Well, you know, I mean, those guys were airborne troops just a short time ago, so I mean, not for nothing, but I kind of understand their hesitancy. They're like, dude, we should be jumping out of planes right here, not like marching through the middle of Ukraine, so. But Panther Deep to the north is kind of chilling, hanging out, doing his thing. P-Shrek, I think we had a period of relative calm here as both guys kind of gird themselves up here for the next round.
Yeah, but that relative calm is definitely going to play into Wilager's favor, as he does have that balanced income. Of course, B phase are going to be the same in terms of points. Once C phase hits, that's when things really start to get good for Wilager in terms of economy, and definitely of how both decks are being built. He definitely has more of the scarier long-term C phase assets, so we'll see if he can keep us up. And he's doing pretty good so far, 14-10. He has the lead, which is definitely advantageous against Vanguard.
And really, as I'm looking over here as well, I think the only thing we might have to watch out for over here from the Soviets is the Su-85. Not rush, but the resurgence of the Su-85s over here in that Phase B.
Yeah, it's really gonna need, like, to try and start knocking out his Panzer IVs. As Wilager's been trading pretty effectively on the hill, he just managed to knock out another 2 T-34s with his Panzer IVs.
Well,
And
one
up
of those
north
being
he
the
starts-
44 variant too, with the whole idea of the
Yeah.
crazy pen. Those are the anti-Panthers, so...
Yeah, especially with close range of APCR. That's a pretty good anti-Panther weaponry here. But even up north, he has the Panther, he has the Panzer IV-J, which is good, because usually the problem I find with German players in these 1v1s is they don't manage to keep up the tank forces like his, and they just get picked off piecemeal. And then that's how you get completely swamped by hordes of T-34 76s.
The thing that's going to be interesting to see is that this 152 barrage is successful in kind of really getting themselves a nice kill here, or if that's going to be, well, lackluster.
I feel like it's going to get some good suppression, but I don't think hamsick's going to be able to follow it up really. He doesn't have much here to, you know, try and rush in and get a bunch of surrenders once his barrage is dropped. More
Well, there's a small push
PE2s in the
going on here.
center.
Oh, yes. Is that
Going after the Panther. And there's no anti-air still, so I feel like this is going to be a dead Panther, but we'll just have to see in a few seconds.
Well, it could be the silent killer. Nope, it's not a silent killer.
Yes!
It's not the stress from the
There
silent
we
killer.
go.
Yeah.
There we go.
But that's just in time to see a Panther G come in instead. And I don't know if we're going to see it immediately, but the Flak 41, of course, we've got an 88 mil going on in, which is a nice dual-purpose gun to be more than enough to kind of keep things at bay. And the T-34s are not going to get deployed in the center. I mean, we're seeing, shockingly enough, a 85 being brought on in there. I'm not sure why. Oh well.
Yeah, just trying to get a long-range advantage here. Now, I feel hamsick's trying to push pretty hard up north. It's just not really working out well. Wilager's in a very good position, and he almost has that hill in the north under his control, and once you lose that hill, it's a pretty huge pain in the ass taking it back. It's a lot of open ground between you and the enemy.
Well, he's not letting up the pressure either. T-34, wow. 231s being brought on in, P-Grens, P4s. I mean, next barrage will be landing in 10 seconds, but to what benefit? Not even really going to kill this Panther.
It does get the Panzer IV at least, but yeah, another barrage is going to come in, but once again, with these barrages, especially 152 mils, they're really just here to stress things out so you can rush in with vehicles and try to get some surrenders and take the position. I don't feel like hamsick, I mean, he does have the guards nearby. I do hope he does decide to move them up after his barrage is dropped, because, there we go, most of the German forces have retreated, or up and down. You're actually, the bloody German infantry are fanatical, they won't surrender.
You have to shoot him, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes, like I said before, routing out Troph SS a huge pain in the ass. I mean, these teenagers are not gonna, you know, give out without a fight.
Well, the other thing, too, is that there's not this MG42 that, with the changes to suppression, he is more than able to take on some of that charging Soviet infantry by himself.
Yeah. So, that really did not do much, yeah. Yeah, just the fanatical trait is extremely powerful, especially in this 1v1s where off-maps and stress is so important per se, rather than killing power.
True.
You can just completely ignore being surrendered. They will not throw any flag for any reason. And with the Soviet stuff, especially like Strokies and guards, even if you do get close range and they're shooting you, they don't have the best DPS, really.
No, it's more because of the utility overall, being able to effectively go and deal with most targets, at least in an average level, so...
Yeah, they got like 2 SMGs, which beat out, like, usually Panzer Grenadiers for only 1. They got the anti-tank grenade, which is pretty cheap, decent amount of units. I mean, not a great unit per se in terms of individual firepower, but you can get a lot of them. And they're only 20 points, which is extremely cost efficient, really.
Exactly. Now we're seeing a replacement Panther G being brought over here to the center. 81 mil this time, trying to keep the PE2s away, I think. I'm more fascinated to see what happens as this Panther D to the north he's not able to see his opposing numbers just yet, and indeed it's the P4 engaging these T-34-85s. And I suspect, yep, there goes the kill right there.
Yeah, his T-34s and these medium-range engagements are definitely pretty nasty bastards to deal with. I mean, they have the better armor and a better gun compared to Panzer IVs. And in these medium-range engagements, they can kill Panthers. Those APCR shells do not mess about.
Well, as evidence as we just saw above, the Panther G just went down.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty decent resurgent here from hamsick. He's pushing onto the hill of only a single Sapari squad right now, but he does have more reinforcements being brought in. If he can get these good trades with his T-34-85s, he might be able to take back some of the flags and some of the positions up north. But once again, it's that annoying fanatical infantry. It's really going to be the bane of his existence, I feel like. Like, you can blow up the tanks, you can blow up the half-tracks, but the infantry are not going to move.
Well, how about this? Instead of throwing all this material up to the north, we're definitely seeing some tunneling here. Why not just set up a platoon or two of the T-34s on the absolute south and just burst through between those trees? I feel like while the ground that you're taking isn't quite as spectacular, it's certainly easier to take.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I mean, once again, this is like classic tunnel vision. But pushing down south or somewhere else would work. It's a little bit harder for the Soviets, as a German, like usually like Flak 88 and Panther Gs can shut down pushes more efficiently. But with surprise and, you know, smoke play can make it work. But I do understand at the same time, right? hamsick is trying to push heavy up north here. It's just not working that well, as we're seeing.
Well, and that's the thing, right? I mean, we do have the T-34-76 to take out their opposite number over here, so we're probably going to see a seizure of this town to the north. But it ain't going to come cheap, and I think that's only really coming because, well, Germans don't really have a whole lot of immediate material to throw here.
Yeah. hamsick has been getting pretty good tank trade here, knocking out quite a few of the Panzer IVs, but you have two bloody Panthers being brought in now. And the T-34 is going to kill them, of course, but it's tougher. It's going to be tougher. And once again, this trying to rout out those Panzer Grenadiers is going to take a while. You're just going to have to find them and then just blast them with tanks until they die. And that's a slow process, really. You don't have, especially with the Second Guard tank, he's used a lot of his tank Destinities already. He doesn't have a lot of Superiors, which are his best, you know, anti-build and infantry counter. So it's really just slow and sure pushes of guards.
True.
Yeah, it's just
Oh no, okay. There's trying to figure there. Just checking the center to see what the 88 mil and the Panther G was doing. It looks like just have a mortar, just kind of chilling over here.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing.
Yeah. Up north, the Panther Gs are in a pretty deadly position at long range, managing to get a bailout on one of the T-34s, and the other one is going to bugger off, which is definitely a smart call in that situation there. And Wilager is trying to push up north here with his guards, but they're just not cutting it, really.
No, and it's going to be a consistent problem, too. The PE-2s are going to be more than enough to kind of go take out a couple squads of infantry, and indeed, no, they're going after the tank instead.
Panzer IV blows it up to smithereens, and 231 getting the flank here on the guards.
And it's close to just absolutely shred these guys, too. Wow.
I always love seeing, like, recon cars just doing flanking maneuvers like that. This puts a lot of smiles on my face.
Well, it's what they're supposed to be doing. Like, it's one of those things that the recon cars are not supposed to be here in a battle line. This is not what you take for your core troop.
No, you can do these, like, cool little flanking maneuvers. You've got reconnaissance, so you can sneak behind enemy line. All of that good stuff. And also, it's just, you know, kind of rare to see actual flanking maneuvers in ST2 when it's usually just all head-on engagements here. I don't believe, Panzerschreck behind enemy lines hasn't got any kills yet, which is a bit of a shame. He's just been racing there very patiently for T-34 to cross his path.
He's going to get one right now. I guarantee you.
Oh, there we go. Yep, he is. That T-34 is moving. So, the time has come.
To say goodbye. Oh,
he goes.
To somebody.
He shoots. And he scores. There we go. A very effective trade, yeah.
there's the FU T-34 coming down to the south there. I was a little surprised that the Shrek isn't retreating into colder climates, deeper into that forest, but, he's paid himself off.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely still rough roll quite a bit. And we're also seeing another resurgent push up north here from Hamsick. A lot of SU-80, just 85 gun tanks all over the bloody place. And not much infantry. I really feel like here's the infantry that is really screwing him over this match on this northern side. I mean, Roger's such a good defensive position now with his troops, but also tanks. He has the Panthers, he has the Jagdpanzers, which are also rather nasty customers to deal with. I don't feel like this is going to work for Hamsick up north. It's too much.
The saving grace, though, is that really Wilager's anti-tank placement is a little bit poor. I mean, the Panther G has extremely minimal sight lines. Yes, we have one Jagdpanzer right now starting to engage the 85s in all of their glory, but he's still outnumbered 3 or 4 to 2. So, I mean, tank play is one of those things you have to have fire superiority. You can't expect to trade crazy well without it.
Yeah, with his massive blob right now, he's managing to pick off tanks kind of 1 or 2 at a time here. That Panther in the town is not moving around to help, which I think is a pretty big misplay here from Wilager. And just the overwhelming amount of firepower of the 85s is taking a long time, but I think that Jagdpanzer is going to go kaput eventually. Yeah, we go.
Well,
so this is good.
Panther died too.
Very. Oh yeah, as well. This is very good if he can use effective tank trade here, and then he can think about trying to get into the town again with whatever infantry he has left.
But Econ is not on his side, nor is the time on his side.
Nope, not at all. Yeah, about 55-point difference is gonna make a big difference, and also that C-Face Panther G card. So yeah, 6 bloody Panthers. That's a lot of Panthers, Khan. That's
true.
You know, if 6 Panthers were to come to my doorstep, I would not be happy. I'd be kind of concerned how they got on my doorstep to begin with.
True. I was gonna say your estates didn't even have that much room the last time I was there. I know.
I know, right?
But either that, you're going to a zoo. There's a wet noodle contest going on between the Jagdpanzer and SU-85, which is just amusing to watch. They seem to be a little bit sad, considering both of them are meant to actually be killing each other right now.
Yeah.
There we go. I just had to motivate them. Okay.
Cool. They heard you, Khan. Well, the Jagdpanzer heard you at least.
They know what the people like. All these other tanks in the meantime, though, just kind of trooping on forwards. One thing we haven't seen a whole lot of, at least over here from the German side, is we haven't really seen any true artillery play.
No, we really haven't. He hasn't really needed to be frank. True. He's fighting, directly very effectively here.
Sure.
I mean, the tanks are trading pretty well. I mean, center position, he's holding pretty easily. Flak 88's been taking some mortar fire, but apart from that, it's all just been very concentrated up north here from Hamsick, throwing in everything. I feel like he's moving his tank blob a little bit too close to the metaphysical sun here. I mean, he could get Panzerfausted, but fortunately there's not really many Panzerfausts in the town right now.
No, there is not. But these other infantry positions across the road, though, too. Like, you're going to see here Hitlerjugend taking more firepower than if they were getting shot at by, a couple of stewards. Not the entire platoon, of course, but a couple of stewards here are going to be causing some hassles. PE2s, in the meantime, looking for and firing after the Panther G. The biggest question is, are the bombs on target? No, we must have the... What?
He goes past the infantry, which I actually think is a good play. I mean, he can blow up the tanks pretty efficiently if his tank blobs. This is routing out his infantry positions is what he really needs to be doing, because he can't really move up his tanks anymore if he doesn't get a good infantry position.
But this is one of the few times the the German division actually outnumbers the Russians in terms of just infantry overall. So why not play to your strengths?
Very true. Yeah, Second Guard infantry, I mean, Second Guard tank does not have the best infantry selection, as you can see here. I mean, you're really just relying on the tanks, and in this sort of town engagement, the tanks are just not cutting it, for obvious reason.
We have ourselves a little bit of a little round top situation as Soviet infantry charges again up and up and up against this kind of northern hillside, and yet nothing seems to happen. No big deal.
Nope.
They get shredded, they come up, they fire it out a little bit, and they come right back down again.
Yeah. I mean, those Panzer Grenadiers are just very good at defense, especially the two MG42s. And defensive positions in a forest, it really helps out quite a bit.
Well, true, and the light vehicle support totally helps as well.
Yeah. It definitely felt like some artillery, like some more support guns up north here from hamsick, definitely would have helped out quite a bit. ISUs also, I mean, not just blowing up Panthers, but they also blow up some infantry positions. He needs, like, more high explosives to rout out the German defenses here.
I suppose that's true. There's one thing actually I didn't really realize until just now, is that while he's got those 4 mortars, he's got a single off-map, and that's all he brought for artillery, so that was kind of setting himself up for a little bit of failure here.
Yeah. They're really using the artillery tab to get in those extra leaders with the artillery leaders. And it's moving in his tanks through his northern town here, but the tank blob has just kind of died out. Moving into a pretty risky position.
Especially the help of the Pak-40s over here and kind of close support.
Yeah, and the Flak 88.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's starting to make a bit of a foothold now onto his northern town at least, but it's too little too late. I think it's pretty clear to say Wilager is going to be taking the victory here.
That would surprise me if it didn't happen, that's definitely true.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just a very good defense. Like, once again, like, some play on the southern side might have helped out. hamsick tried to divert some attention from how heavily defended the north is. Like, I think that central position along the river, try to get that farmstead with the Panzer Grenadier, definitely would have worked. You can use some of that light forest cover to your advantage. But yeah, just that being funneled up north was just an absolute slaughter.
It was, and you could see the kind of mistake of sending in all of these vehicles, not unsupported, but certainly outmatched.
Yeah. The Second Guard tank, I mean, it's not the best division by any stretch, but I imagine. I think it's pretty clearly demonstrates right. I mean, the tanks are decent, but you just don't have the infantry, like, effective infantry play. And that's very important with a lot of Soviet divisions.
True.
Yeah.
Looking over here at the KD, not quite as bad as I feared it was going to be.
Same. That's like only a 700 is difference. That's pretty fair for 1v1, like less than average usually.
But almost shockingly, looking at the most dangerous people here, we have one random T-34 85, and then one of the PE2s, and then another 85 with several kills. But a lot of these guys here, not killing the most illustrious vehicles.
No, but the T-34s did pretty effectively.
That's fair, yeah.
Have to give him that, like, he traded well considering just how awful he was getting butchered up north, but, that's surprising. And losses?
Some stand-up P4s here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, the Panzer IV spam, like 2-star Panzer IVs, if you can get a lot of them in that sort of situation, they work out very well, especially in more open maps.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, successful in this particular case over here for Wilager, really, really well done there.
Mm-hmm.
And looking outside of that, I'm sorry?
Indeed.
And folks, with that kind of in mind, I think, what are we going to be seeing later this week, sir? Do you recall off the top of your head?
I completely forgot. You'll just have to see on Thursday.
That sounds like a good enough thing for me, folks. Come back on Thursday to see another real slam-bang match being set up. Until then, though, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.